Hi everybody, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet, and today we are watching episodes 122 and 123 of Bleach. You guys, I've been gone for a little while, but we are coming back with these videos. I'm going to do my best to make them happen because I need to know what's gonna happen, because we had some crazy stuff going on in the last episodes. So we had a bunch of fights going on. We had our Arinkar showing up, picking fights with our Soul Reapers. And specifically in the last episode that we watched, we had Grimmjow versus Ichigo, which was a little disheartening. It didn't make me confident in our group's ability to fight against Aizen's army. It made me a little bit worried. I'm a little bit anxious about this whole thing because, you know, Grimmjow just sort of smacked Ichigo around a bit, and you know, that is worrisome. Especially since he was stopping Ichigo's Bankai, which is like his bare hands, and it didn't seem to affect him, which I think the only other person we've seen who did that was Aizen himself. So definitely a little on edge about that, especially since we have seen with the other Arinkar that we're fighting against, the Soul Reapers, that Arinkar have releases to their Zanpakuto as well. And instead of it being like the Zanpakuto kind of transforming, like we've kind of seen with the Soul Reapers, it seems to be like weapon-based transformations, whereas like with the Arinkar, it seems to be more like physical transformation, which I think goes along with the fact that they are hollows turned Soul Reapers. Like they're originally hollows, so their releases, their transformations are more about them becoming more of their hollow self, taking on some more of those hollow traits, at least physically. I don't know if in terms of like power set, but we've seen that going on with some of the other Arinkar that were being fought at the time, and we didn't see that with Grimmjow. So the fact that Grimmjow was able to have that kind of power without having to release his Zanpakuto is also a worrisome thing. So we definitely got to see just how powerful at least Grimmjow is, and we learned that he is the sixth most powerful. There's like the top 10 most powerful Arinkar. They all have numbers associated with them, and the numbers from like 11 and higher is just like order of birth, whereas like the top 10 is like the most powerful of the Arinkar. And we learned that Grimmjow is 6. So, you know, part of that really powerful group of Arinkar, but like not the top 5, not the top 3. So we're definitely dealing with something that the Soul Reapers, at least at the level that Ichigo is at, which is basically a captain, you know, given that he has his Bankai, that, you know, he has fought captains and, you know, done a pretty good job at surviving that, even though there's a little bit of debate as to whether or not he like legitimately won those fights, but or if he would have won those fights if, like, you know, in the case of him fighting Byakuya without like his hollow getting involved. We also have that. We also have Ichigo's hollow that definitely was trying to get involved with the fight with Grimmjow, which is you know, just another thing to add to my list of stuff to be super worried about, because that is something that's gonna have to definitely going to have to be an issue at some point soon, because it's getting to that boiling point, right? Like, Ichigo is suppressing it, he's fighting against it, he's not like having an outlet for that power, and it's like wearing him out. Like, he is exhausted from having to fight with himself, so he's definitely going to have to deal with that properly at some point. Like, either come to some kind of way of working with the Hollow, or it's just gonna take over because he's not gonna have the energy to suppress it, especially since when Ichigo tends to like dig into his power, he tends to not have great control over it in general, and he's like pulling up that Hollow power along with it. So the more power he tries to like dig into and use, the less control he has to suppressing this Hollow, right? So, you know, as he takes on stronger and stronger adversaries, it's going to become more and more of an issue that he has this Hollow he doesn't know how to control within him. So like that's definitely something we're going to have to deal with. And I feel like this episode that we're getting into, 122, is going to be more of like a reaction and reset kind of thing, where we went through all of this stuff in the last few episodes that was like people having to fight against adversaries they really weren't prepared for, seeing just how powerful their adversary is, really only like surviving the fight because Tosen showed up and was like, hey, you guys shouldn't be here, Aizen's mad, we gotta go back. So it wasn't even like they won the fight entirely, like it was really just like Grimjo left because they were in trouble. And so, you know, people are injured, people have seen just how powerful their adversaries are, and I feel like these episodes, at least this next episode, is going to be like, okay, what do we do? Like, what do we do now that we know what we're up against? We really understand it, and we're not powerful enough. Like, we don't have the strength to make this work. So what do we do? How do we get ready for the next time we have to fight against these adversaries? Like, what do we do the next time an attack like this happens? And so I feel like that's really what we're going to be dealing with, at least for like the next episode, maybe the next couple of episodes, and just sort of like dealing with the characters having to like mentally prepare themselves. Like, getting beat up out of nowhere and like feeling powerless is something that Ichigo has been struggling with since this arc began. Like, he is not fully confident of himself anymore. He's doubting how powerful he is. I feel like this is just gonna be another thing that he's gonna have to work past, right? Like, he's gonna have to figure out a way to like get past the mental block that he's been dealing with. And, you know, just super quickly before we get into the episode, we did see in the preview for this episode that Ishida is gonna be in the episode, which I've been asking about him because I want to know, how are his Quincy powers going? Like, is he getting them back? How is he dealing with being with his dad so much? Because he and his dad do not have a good relationship. And, you know, do the Quincy's know about this whole like Odenkar, Aizen, visored stuff that's going on? And, you know, are they gonna get involved? Because I know Ishida was like, yes, I promise I'm not gonna get involved with Soul Reaper things anymore, so you can help me get my powers back. That was like the deal he made with his dad. But like, also, I feel like the whole Aizen thing is gonna affect everybody. Like, anyone who has spirit pressure of any kind is gonna get affected by it. So I feel like Ishida's gonna have to get involved. Like, even putting aside the fact that he's like just genuinely a nice person who wants to protect people, he's gonna have to get involved just because he's gonna get pulled into it. Like, when he was attacked by that Hollow when he was just like walking home, like, he wasn't really part of this like overflowing of Hollow activity that was happening, but he just got like brought into it because he was sort of part of it. So looks like we're gonna see some of what Ishida has been doing for the last little bit, some of the training that he's been going through and where he's at in terms of his powers and stuff, which I'm really looking forward to because Ishida has some of my favorite abilities out of the characters that we've been introduced to so far. So that's what I think. Those are my thoughts going into this episode, and let's just watch the episode. We'll see what happens. In 3, 2, one, go. I love Gon singing at the very beginning of this opening. He just seems so passionate. It feels like so long since I've watched the show. Going through withdrawals, you know? I'm so excited to see Ishida. I am somewhat concerned about Orihime seeming to be connected to Aizen in a lot of these clips in the opening. Like a lot of showing Orihime and then Aizen, which makes me think that something is gonna happen between the two characters. I can't really think what, other than like Orihime has like this weird like dimension shifting, time shifting power that like maybe Aizen's interested in, but she's such a sweetheart that I don't want Aizen to be anywhere near her. There's a little bit of damage from the fights that we just did. Not really. He did not really win. Yeah. He survived. Glass half full. Oof, look at all those wrinkles on his nose. Feeling intense. See, like, what's with the throne, though? It's, like, so much higher than the rest of them, too. Like... You're not? I don't have deep loyalty is what I would say. I think ambition. Oh, is he just giving him an out, though? Oh. Oh, I can see how Tosin wouldn't like Grimjo. Yeah, like I think like Grimjo just enjoys violence, whereas like Tosin fights on the side of like it being justice, like and being like ultimately the right thing to do, right? Yeah, see? Justice without a cause is just killing. Oh. Okay, I was expecting some things, but that not it. You're just gonna casually walk away? Your arm just got cut off. I mean, I know he's like a hollow and all, but still. Jeez. Will it grow back? Cause like hollow. Geen? Geen! What have you been doing? Lower Gilead. Oh yeah, yeah, because they were the lower ranked ones. Hello. Where are we? Ooh. Yeah, I was wondering if he could feel what was going on. Probably not. Yeah, I was like, I don't trust you. Why do you just have like a secret, fully equipped training ground? If you were all like, I don't want to be a Quincy, why put in the work? Or imply that you put in the work? Also, do not kill Ishida. I like him. Oh. Ichigo's family is so chaotic. Except for Kennen. Ugh. I'm just glad she's okay. You are getting better. Take the compliment. So proud of Orihime. He does seem to know something about those things. Don't feel like it. Hmm. But even if he doesn't know how to do it yet, he might be able to figure it out. If you, like, You don't know, did some tests, tried some things. So even Rukia doesn't know where he's at? He's just practicing? Ruining public property? Oh no, that's where they were before, wasn't it? When the Arenka showed up first time. Yeah, you're gonna have to deal with the hollow. Ooh. Why? Ooh, his eyes changed before, didn't they? When he, like, partially turned hollow. Hmm? I feel like Ichigo is going through a lot. I feel like there's a lot of chaotic energy in this house, and Ikagu is just like stuck in the middle of it. He's probably also doubting himself. Like, Ikagu's probably also fighting against, like, feeling like he isn't strong enough or, like, failing. See, look at that face. Seto's not there either? Is he still healing? My poor boy. Orihime showed up. Yes, that is a good point to make. Yeah, is she okay? Because she went into kind of a weird trance thing before. When there was a bunch of, like, spirit pressure around her. Soto, you looking for training? Hmm, looking for training. You look so confused. Ooh, where are we? looks a little run down. You look tired, Ichigo. Are you okay? I mean, like, relatively speaking. Where are we going? Who are we talking to? Oh! Shinji. Oh no! He's going to see Visored? So he can learn how to control the Hollow? Oh dear. Are we? Oh? Oh dear. We're gonna finally get to see Shinji fight. Ooh. Why do I feel like Ichigo is just like acting out? Like he's gotten desperate and like frustrated, and it's making him reckless. Not that he shouldn't be getting help from people that like also know what it's like to like go from Soul Reaper to like part Hollow, but it just seems like not a well thought through plan. Nice hair. That's what I was saying. Ooh! Oh. Yeah, good luck forcing him into anything he doesn't want to do. Ooh, I like the use of light in that scene. It's true, Shinji does seem a little bit more gentle than Hiyori. Ooh. Oh dear. So that's what we're doing, huh? I forgot that in the preview for the last episode that there was a clip of Ichigo and Shinji. I forgot that we were gonna get some Visored in this. Ooh. I'm excited to see that though, because we got to see like the Arinka. We've gotten to see them, especially in the last few episodes. But we haven't seen like really what it's like the if you're like a Soul Reaper taking out a hollow traits with like the Visored are, which is like way closer to what Ichigo is. So I'm assuming there has to be like a difference to the way that that functions. Probably not like a ton, like not like significant differences maybe, but like I feel like it's definitely different to like be human with like a hollow, you know, getting involved, right? I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out. I'm excited to meet some of the Visor too, like the other characters. Okay, so that focused a lot more on the like a lot of different elements that I wasn't really thinking of when I went into it. So one was just going into like Grimjo going back to Aizen and you know, with Tosen and stuff like that. Like I wasn't really thinking that we were gonna see a whole lot of that side of it in general. So the fact that like we got to see Aizen's response to what Grimjo did, because we know that he just kind of like put together a group of Arinka and just went on his own, because when Alkura I think is how you pronounce his name, but when he came back he was like, we don't need to go and fight Ichigo yet. Like he was like, we don't need to go back yet. And Aizen agreed with him, and Grimjo was like, well, like if you could have killed him, like if you could have made it so that Ichigo isn't something we have to deal with later, why didn't you do it? Like let's just go do it now. And Aizen was like, no, I agree with him, like we'll leave it for now. And Grimjo kind of like went against those wishes and was like, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna pick a fight with Ichigo and I'm gonna deal with the issue now. And he kind of got called back home, you know, with his tail between his legs, and you know, told by Aizen of like, I mean kind of passive aggressively of Aizen being like, I forgive you because you did it out of loyalty, right? Like kind of like that knowing look of like, I know you just did it because you want to prove something or you want to pick a fight or whatever, but I'm going to give you this out because, you know, I'm assuming because Grimjo is one of the more powerful ones, but because Aizen, I don't know, likes to think of himself as benevolent. He has a big throne, he's got some like some angelic things that he's incorporated into like how he is viewed. Like there's a very like grim and darker feeling to like the netherworld, the place that they're in right now. And Aizen is like, yeah, but I'm gonna make myself like this like white throne, and I'm gonna have this warm light over top of it, and I'm gonna be this kind of benevolent force in this darker world. So I definitely think that Aizen likes the idea of him being lenient or kind or like benevolent in some way, being seen that way, but like not a pushover, which I feel is like what happened there with Grimjo, where he's like, I'm gonna give you this out and I'm going to forgive you this time. The next time though, I'm not going to. And we saw that with Tosen, when Tosen just like chopped off Grimjo's arm, and Aizen was like, yeah, you can't attack him. You can't retaliate for that, because if you do, I won't forgive you, and then you'll have to deal with me. So it was really interesting to me to get to see the dynamic of like what exactly is going on Aizen's side of things. I really thought that we weren't really gonna see much of Aizen unless he was like directly interacting with other characters that are like in the main story. Like I felt like he was gonna kind of be this like lurking force in the background a little bit more, but I am really enjoying the fact that we're getting to see stuff that is going on with the Arrancar, that's going on with Aizen, along with the stuff that's going on with like Ichigo and the Soul Society and stuff like that. So I love getting to kind of figure out exactly what the dynamic is going to be between all of these different characters. And the other thing that like I forgot about was the visor. The fact that we got to see in the preview for this episode that Ichigo and Shinji were going to have some kind of interaction. We haven't seen Shinji in a little bit, or any of the visored, so I totally forgot about that, and it got way more focus in this episode than I was expecting, and it looks like the next episode, that's what we're going to be kind of focusing on, is Ichigo getting into this confrontation, getting involved with this group, not in like a joining way, but in a like picking a fight with them. And like I was saying in the reaction, I feel like it's just because he's so frustrated and he's so scared and he just has all of these things that are making him feel powerless, is like the reason that he is deciding to pick a fight with Visored. Like I feel like him just going in there on a whim, not telling anybody where he's going, picking a fight with like this group of people, like it's not just Shinji, which by the way he had a couple of issues with last time. They had a little bit of a scuffle between them, but also like there are other Visored there, like there are other people who also are as powerful, if not more powerful than Shinji. Like why? What's the logic there to me? Like, why would he go and... I mean, I know that he's, like, hot-headed in general, and I understand that, like, he wants to fight with people or get the information that he wants from people who, like, are the closest to understanding his situation, what he's going through, but I also feel like he's acting out a little bit. Like, I feel like Ichigo is so desperate at this point that he's like, he's like, he needs an outlet for it. Like he needs to feel like he's doing something, that he's in control of something, and that's why he's specifically going after Visored, because he can't get to the Arrancar, he can't get to Aizen, definitely knows that he wouldn't win if he did, and I feel like there's been a lot of things happening recently that he's like struggled with and not had control over, and has like resulted in people getting hurt that he cares about, that he just needs an outlet for all of that feeling. He just like needs something that he feels like he can control, and this is like the best thing that he could think of. And I feel like the hot-headedness, you know, goes into that, where he's like making a rash decision, but I feel like maybe that's where he's coming from mentally. I'm not totally sure, but I hope that someone kind of figures out what he's up to, especially Orukia, who's out looking for him. I hope that people kind of figure it out. Like Orukia can probably sense where he is, and like some of the other Soul Reapers can probably figure it out. Like I'm assuming, hopefully they'll think that maybe it's something to do with Visored, and that they can like bail him out, because I feel like Ichigo might need to be bailed out of this one, especially like if he like lets his hollow out, which it looks like we're gonna get some of that in the next episode. We know that he doesn't have the best control over his power in general, but definitely not over his hollow, and he might need the hollow to actually like survive this confrontation. So I feel like he's gonna need some people to like come and back him up a little bit on that. And we got to see Ishida briefly with his training with his dad. We know that he's like aware that there was some stuff going on with like the Arenka showing up and all that. I was wondering if he had sensed any of it, like he was aware, but if he's like in this like, it looks like he's like locked in this training room facility thing that his dad has, so he definitely couldn't get out. But I like to see that he's worried. I like to see that he's like, you know, he might have said that he's not gonna get involved with the whole Soul Reaper thing, but like he's still like sort of interested, you know. They're still his friends, he still cares a little bit. So I like to see that. It looks like things aren't going the best with his dad. Could be worse, but his dad may or may not be trying to actively kill him in order to get his powers back, which, I mean, sure. I hope that we get to see some more of that. Not that I want to see someone beat up Ishida and we're trying to kill him, but like we get to see more of Ishida like training and figuring out his Quincy powers some more, and that side of things, and like him kind of like half being like, you know, like being in training, but like also like having an idea of what's going on outside, like what's going on with Ichigo and everything, and you know, still being aware that there's like things going on outside of like, I mean, kind of literally this bubble that he is trapped in. Last thing I want to mention before we get into the next episode is Sado, who showed up at Urahara's shop and was asking for training. We definitely saw that he like, Sado was very aware that like he was not cut out to be fighting Arenka, like both when they had the first fight, but then also when he was almost killed by Grumjo, if not for like Ichigo coming in and saving him. And we saw like he was legitimately terrified and like having to kind of deal with that being something that he has found himself dragged into. So I don't know if Urahara will train him, probably, but I like the idea of Sado like continuing to get stronger and like fully exploring his abilities, because I feel like he got kind of like a really quick, you know, training session with Yoruichi before they went to the Soul Society. Like it was like a quick, let's just figure this out, you just unlocked your power, but like let's just train it enough that you can sort of use it because we gotta go, we have a time limit. Whereas like I feel like he hasn't really gotten properly trained, and I want to see more of like, explore more of like how his ability works, because he really just like, he has like the armor on like his arm, but I feel like shouldn't he have armor in general? Am I crazy for thinking that? Stopping at the, like only having it on the arm is like a weird restraint for it to have. And especially since we have seen the Arenkai have like the thicker skin on them, they have like a way of concentrating their spirit pressure to like help their skin be like less penetrable, like it's a armor for them. So like maybe he can train to have like more of his body with this armor stuff. I don't know. But I'm excited to find out, because more screen time for my sweet boy. I'm always ready for that. So let's get into episode 123 and see if Ichigo can survive this encounter with Hiyori, because I don't feel great about it. In 3, 2, 1, go. Is it wrong that I'm a little bit excited to see Ichigo go full hollow again? Like, I don't want him to, like, be uncomfortable or, like, hurt anyone or any of that. But also, I want to see what kind of abilities come out of it. And when he fought Byakuya, it was pretty cool. So, I'm always conflicted in anime where I'm like, emotionally, ooh, I hit my mic a little bit, but like emotionally, I'm like, I don't want anyone to fight each other because I don't want anyone to get hurt. But then, like, there's the other part of me that's like, yeah, but I want to see a cool fight. So, I don't want to see Ichigo get hurt, especially any more head injuries. But I do want to see a cool fight. And I'm interested to see what Hiyori is capable of, like what her power set is. Oh, we're doing a summary again? We didn't have one in the last. Well, we had like a little recap, like clips from the previous episode, but we didn't have like a let's recap the concepts of the show. Mm-hmm. True. What, to say they killed like 5 of the Aranka out of 6, right? I think Grimjo's the only one that came back. Yes. Cause it does not look good for our team, our Soul Reaper team, given their current power level. So everybody's training, but Ichigo seems a little bit reckless in his decision. I like Shinji's hat though. The little like page boy cap. Oh, working so hard. You know, I'm just gonna get Totoro. Cause I got a feeling. You are scared, definitely. Ooh. He's definitely scared to use his Bankai. Because it'll, like, make it harder for him to control the hollow. But it might be because you're scared that you're not able to, like, maintain consciousness. Uh-oh. Ooh, jeez. Oh, wow. They came in fast. Oh, so they're gonna help him? Sort of. Oh no, what's wrong? Oh. Kennen knows more about what's going on, though. I'm like, Yuzu's probably the only one who has, like, no idea what's going on. Is it Rukia? Yeah. Ooh, maybe they can't sense him, actually. With the barriers that they're putting up. Oh, Gon. Gon showing his soft spot. They're all just like hanging out. He's just continuing to train. Uh-oh. Ooh. Oh, the way Hiyori, like, brought brought him in the way. They call him Barry. Ooh. 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 Yeah, I'm assuming they're trying to make him exhausted, but oh. So they do have an idea of what's going on. Oh, many years. How? The Soul Society just found out. Of course, you're gonna wait to tell me some other time. True. Oh, yeah, no, how do you know that? Have they known about Ichigo for a while? What did we just do? This another secret training ground? Oh? I don't like the idea of a full hollow transformation. Because we did like a half before. Okay, this looks exactly like Urahara's, and I was gonna make a joke about it being like Urahara's, but is it the same place? Or is this just like a general motif? Oh, we're in our internal world again? It's not raining. That has to be good. Are we gonna see White Ichigo again? There he is. Y'all gotta work something out. Can't keep fighting each other. Is Zangetsu somewhere, or is he just, like, staying out of this one? That's what I said. Can't it technically be both? Though. Like, cause isn't like. Yeah, I was like. I'm like, aren't they, like, connected? Because we saw before that, like, White Ichigo, like, dissolved into Zangetsu. Last time we were in the internal world. So aren't they, like it's just like Ichigo's soul, right? Like it's all kind of like intertwined. I'm assuming. I don't like the idea of him becoming a full hollow. I also don't love the sounds he's making. My heartbeat is really fast right now. Because he never fully turned, right? Like, he stopped partway through transforming into a hollow before, so I don't I don't like the idea of him fully turning. Ooh. Yeah, see, that part was what we saw last time. Oh, that makes sense though, that he would, like, the fact that he always lost control the more power he had, right? It's like I was saying before, like he's pulling at, like, the hollow's power, and that's why the hollow comes out more the more power he uses. Yeah, I don't think you need to defeat the hollow. I think you guys need to come to some kind of agreement. Especially if you're trying to use your Zanpakuto against, like, you know, someone who is in control of the power that goes through your Zanpakuto. I don't feel like that is the way to defeat him. I feel like you gotta learn to work with him like you did with Zangetsu. Maybe not ideal, but I feel like that's gonna be the outcome. Oh dear. I did not think that we were gonna get, like, a full-on Ichigo versus Ichigo fight. Oh, I'm excited for the next episode, though. I'm just trying to, like, think. I'm gonna try and keep my thoughts until after the episode. I'm still not used to seeing all the characters in, like, just, like, casual clothes. Because I'm used to them being, like, Soul Reapers. Okay, give me preview. Ooh. He's gonna have a white bankai, isn't he? Because they're inverted. So, that didn't go as poorly as I feared it would. Which is like, I hit my wall. Which is good. I like that Ichigo didn't get, you know, completely thrown around this time. So, you know, Hiyori versus Ichigo could have been worse. Could have been better, but could have been worse. And, you know, it was so creepy though seeing his hollow come out, because there was something far more, like, I don't know, animalistic about it than what I'm used to seeing, like, previously. Like, I feel like the other times that we've seen the hollow side of Ichigo, it hasn't been quite that vicious as it seems in this. I think also because, like, the hollow isn't, like, talking through him. Like, there's just, like, kind of these animalistic noises and stuff, and it feels very, like, it feels very inhuman in a way that it hasn't before. So I don't know if that's, like, because it's getting more powerful, like, what Ichigo brought up during this, of, like, he's like, well, I've gotten more powerful, so I'm actually, like, I've overpowered Zangetsu. Ooh, maybe that's it. Maybe it's because Zangetsu isn't, like, holding him back any. Ooh, that's an interesting idea. Because if the hollow was part of Zangetsu before, then it would make sense that Zangetsu was, like, suppressing his power a little bit, or at least, like, funneling some of the power through, like, the Zanpakuto, and he was kind of, like, helping out with some of that, like, regulation of, like, how the power was flowing through. Whereas if they've switched now, and Zangetsu is actually part of his power, his consciousness has become, like, part of the hollow, then the hollow has, like, free reign, right? Like, he's in charge of that power flow. So it could definitely be that, of there's something, like, less grounded, less human about the hollow now, because it's, like, acting out of its own accord, as opposed to, like, Zangetsu having some control over him being there. I kind of miss Zangetsu though. I'm kind of worried about that. I'm like, I don't want the hollow in charge. I prefer Zangetsu, because at least he like seemed to want to work with Ichigo, whereas like the Hollow definitely doesn't. But I do think that's the key to this. Like, I definitely feel like Ichigo is like hell-bent on suppressing the Hollow or getting rid of it, and I feel like the actual solution is gonna be like cooperating with it, not in like giving it what it wants, but like in a way that like they have to be able to work together some way. Like that's how he ended up being able to use his Zanpakuto. Like the reason Ichigo can use his Zanpakuto the way that he currently does is because him and Zangetsu agreed to work together, like figured out a way for them to both coexist. So I feel like Ichigo is gonna have to figure out a way to like actually cooperate and coexist with the Hollow, because I don't know if there's a way to like get rid of it without like killing Ichigo. Like I don't know if you can separate the two of them now. Maybe you can. I'm new to this. There's lots of more episodes yet. I probably don't know what I'm talking about. I think that is probably the overall solution to it. I don't love the idea that they're making him go for like a full Hollow transformation. You know, Vizard is pushing him to that so that they can like actually figure out how to like control the Hollow and stuff, but I kind of get it because Ichigo never went full Hollow. Like he went part way and then came back, and I feel like the other Vizard like fully embraced the Hollow and then came back. So it's like there's something unfinished about Ichigo's Hollow persona thing. I don't even know how to like separate the two identities fully, but you know, because like his mask isn't complete, there's something very unstable about it, and I don't know how much of that is just like because it's a Hollow, so there's like some instability at just like having this Hollow that like wants control and stuff, or if it's like because it isn't a fully formed Hollow that there's like something more like primal about it. Like I was saying with being more like animalistic, like maybe it's because it's unfinished that is like why it's harder to control, harder to predict and stuff like that. I don't know. But I am looking forward to the Ichigo versus Ichigo fight that we're gonna get. Someone hyped up episode 124 in the comments on my videos, and I kind of get where you're coming from. If that's what we're doing, if that's the fight that we're getting, then maybe are we gonna see Ichigo go full Hollow? Does he have like a Hollow form that we're gonna get to see? Because that's like terrifying, but also think of the character design. This is where the artist part of me really gets in the way, because like the part of me that's invested in the story is like, I don't want Ichigo to become a Hollow because that would be bad for him. Like think of like the emotional and psychological trauma. Like even before when he was going through it, it was like super painful, and like to go full Hollow with like the mental stuff that he's been dealing with anyway, like all of the stuff that he's been going through up to this point already, it's not gonna be a great experience for him. But the artist part of me is like, but like think of the design that's gonna happen. It's the same way that I feel about like White Ichigo in general, because I'm like, I don't want White Ichigo to show up from like a narrative standpoint, because like he throws a bunch of chaos into Ichigo's life, but also from like an artist side, I really like the White Ichigo design. Ooh, are we gonna see a Hollow Ichigo? Nervous and excited. That seems to be how I usually end a lot of these episodes. Nervous and excited. It's like when I'm editing these videos, the number of times I say, I don't know, I'm like, I feel like I should put like a counter or something up in the corner and be like, how many times can I say I don't know in these videos? I don't know. I'm so tired. This is like the end of the day. I've been working all day. We're an exhausted mind right now. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. So forgive me. Forgive the madness. It's a little bit of a mess. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching those episodes along with me, even with a little bit of chaotic energy, trying to get this video together. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!